please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
All right, good morning. Welcome to Chartbusters. Well, this is the show where we'll highlight all the buzzing stocks of the day, also get you some expert advice on how you can capitalize and trade. In the next half hour, we'll get you a view on the markets. We'll also get you a couple of managements. I'm Nigel D'Souza, and with me is Mangalam Malu. Hey, Mangalam. Things looking more or less flattish for the headline index. Both my ferrous stocks, they are in focus today. Both of them have actually come in for some profit booking. So JSW Steel and Tata Steel, both of them, well, the numbers were quite good. But there is some profit booking on them. I'll tell you what, JSW Steel, now that's today's chart, is down 1.5%. You'll say, well, after such good numbers, why is it down? Even Tata Steel is down close to around 2%. Let's pull up a last, maybe a 2-week chart or a last 1-month chart. Let's pull up JSW Steel maybe first. The last month chart, Mangalam, it was at 310 rupees on March 3rd. From there, it went very, very swiftly to around 343 yesterday. So it was a good 10% rally that we had on JSW Steel. So it's giving back some of that. And Tata Steel as well, it had moved to around 560 rupees. Then, in fact, on Monday itself, it went all the way to around 630, 635 rupees odd. So that stock as well, from that low in May, on May 3rd, it moved all the way with a gain of close to around 10%. So both these two stocks, they've gained between 10 to around 12%. And that's why, in fact, we are seeing some profit booking today. In spite of the fact that JSW Steel delivered a very good set of numbers, Tata Steel as well delivered a good set of numbers in terms of the domestic operations. And going ahead for both these two companies, the steel price increases will play out for them. So quarter one should look fairly decent as well. Routine profit booking, it seems all those that bought for this event, they are selling. We saw it happen with JSPL as well. On the day of good numbers, the stock was down nearly around 4.5%. And, in the consequent days, it did bounce up a tad bit. So keep your eye on these stocks. You get various theories why the stock is under pressure. But I think it is profit booking. That's the reason.
All right, you speak about the ferrous stocks. Nigel, I can't keep my eye away from the FMCG pack. Hindustan Unilever, that big boy should come up for you. Post results, it was a phenomenal set of numbers on the day right after results. The stock did not move too much, but yesterday after ITC results, the stock started its up move again and closing in on that 1600 mark. It's virtually at a record high, and what's also interesting is just a 3,000 crore rupee gap between the market cap of HUL and ITC. Just a year ago, that gap was in excess of 1.5 lakh crores. So it's going to be a phenomenal moment for the FMCG industry itself. Apart from that, we have Jyoti Laboratories, which is buzzing a good set of numbers during market hours. Then the street parsed through result post market hours, and valuations on Jyoti Laboratories side as well. That stock sitting with a gain of almost 15% since its results yesterday afternoon. But first up, all the top stories that we're tracking at this point in time is the ferrous stocks, Tata Steel, JSW Steel, both of them seeing some profit taking in early trade after their Q4 earnings. They beat street estimates. Remember, Tata Steel's Indian operations did well, while JSW Steel delivered an all-round beat.
And Divi's laboratory gains in trade after its Unit 1 inspection by the US FDA is completed with no observations.
Granules India, that one surges 8% after the company received a US FDA approval for the generic methergine tablets.
And in earnings reactions, Manali Petro is locked in upper circuit after reporting a 320 basis points jump in its quarter 4 numbers. In fact, TCI as well, the quarter 4 EBIT surges 53% to around 60 crore rupees. And Praj Industries as well is up nearly around 5% after it reports a net profit of around 27 crore rupees. That's better than street estimates of reading of around 20 crores.
On the disappointing side of earnings, we have Z Media. The Q4 margin slumped to 20% against an estimated 34%, while weaker loan growth continues to drag Muthoot Finance. Career Point and Brigade Enterprises too disappoint in their fourth quarter earnings.
Market slipping a tad bit. A couple of heavyweights, in fact, are seeing some selling. Infosys as well as ITC. Pull up the intraday chart of both those two heavyweights. Both of them have moved to the low point of the day. In fact, our ticker team as well is alerting you. So keep your eye on that front. But what's the saving grace really is ICICI Bank. That was trading in the red at the start of this arm. It's moved into the green. So that's what's preventing the Nifty from falling apart as we speak. Keep your eye on that one. And Sun Pharma as well. Sunly has recovered all its losses. Now sitting in the green. Just a short while back, it was down more than 1%. So the intraday chart will tell you the picture. But let's get in Ashwini Gujral. Ashwini, we're getting a dip today on the Nifty. It's down closer around 20 points as we speak, flirting with the 10,720 odd mark. Would you look to buy into this dip, or do you believe, in fact, we can slip even from here?
See, 10,700 is kind of holding as a support, and my sense is that this is a support which may hold on for the Nifty. So my sense is that we are in some sort of a sideways market, not a very huge downtrending market. So with that sort of support as a stop, I'm interested in buying into the Bank Nifty, because for 2 days it gave up 1,000 points, etc. Now chances are that if you don't get follow through, there could be some amount of short covering also. So given that, I think buying into the Bank Nifty, maybe even the Nifty, is not such a bad idea, because you could have a pullback rally. You've had 3 days of decline. So that's the overall view. Even PSU banks are kind of showing some life. The financials overall, large banks like ICICI Bank have come back from the lows. So that way, the market has, things on both sides. It's not like it's a one-sided market. Having said that, consumers are doing well. So Tata Global, from its 200-day moving average, is beginning to move up. That's a buy with a stop of 244, target of 258. Motherson is a buy with a stop of 330, target of 344. And State Bank, 235, 240 is a very strong support. So that is a buy with a stop of 240, target of 252.
Just keep an eye out on the Nifty. It is at the low point of the day, along with the Sensex. A few index heavyweights exerting some pressure out there. So the HDFC twins, HDFC Bank as well as HDFC Limited should come up for you. Both of them have slipped to the low point of the day. And from the tech space, we have Infosys. After a stellar rally that we've seen in the IT space, Infosys has actually come off the high point of the day. In fact, exerting some pressure, sitting at the low point of today's trading session. So we'll keep an eye out on all these index heavyweights and their pressure on the index. But first up, let's get chatting with the management of Geojit Financial Services. They've reported a sequentially weak fourth quarter. So to discuss this and more, we have Satish Menon, the ED of the company, joining in now. Mr. Menon, if you could explain to us what led to the weakness in your total AUM quarter on quarter. Were there redemptions? And if you could give us the breakup between debt as well as equity portion of your assets under management.
Thank you. So we have been trying to build our mutual fund AUM through SIPs. And we have grown our SIP book from 88 crores in March 17 to 165 crores in March 18. Particularly in the last quarter, what we have seen is because of the market fluctuation, the market was not so good in the month of February and March especially. So though the new inflow of money is coming into mutual fund, because of the downward revision in market prices, the AUM has not grown. But when you look at year-on-year growth, you have seen a 62% growth in the retail AUM. This is what we expect. In a market, we cannot expect that every quarter the market will be going up. So these fluctuations are expected. We are into a long-term long-term AUM building concept. So we expect these things to come in. So that is the primary reason. The redemptions are not so major a factor. The percentage of redemption, what we have seen in the last quarter compared to the previous quarter, is not anything to be worried about. This is primarily coming from the dip in prices of the stocks.
Okay, all right. Mr. Menon, for the next year, I think currently your AUM is what, around 39,000 crores approximately?
Asset under holding. That is our DP assets.
Okay.
When we talk about trail income earning, it is the mutual fund assets.
Yeah, so break up your mutual fund assets for us, sir, if you could help us out. How much of it is debt, how much of it is equity, and where do you see that heading?
So we have equity. We have a total AUM in mutual fund side from Geojit Financial Service ARN of 3,273 crores at the end of March 2018, of which 625 crores is debt, balance is equities.
All right.
And the way SIP is going in, we expect at least, if everything goes fine, 75% increase in the AUM from this level by March 19.
And you said
that is the I think crux of SIPs. You do your sales efforts in the first month, and you continue to reap the benefits over a longer period of time.
Mr. Menon, you said your SIP has grown from what, 85 crores to around 165 crores, correct?
So the SIP book in March 17 was 88 crores.
Okay.
The SIP book in March 18 is 165 crores.
And where do you see this headed, since you're expecting such a big growth?
We have our objectives very clear. Our endeavor is to reach close to 285 crores by the end of March 19.
Okay.
All right, fair point there. Mr. Menon, you're sounding fairly optimistic about your growth in the SIP business, but you also said your retail business grew a little more. So let's ask a fundamental question about the nature of your business. Where exactly does your moat lie? Because we're seeing a lot of these peers of yours shifting into the digital platform, and then there are a lot of these digital retail broking solutions as well. Do you think all of that will have a bearing on your revenues going forward, or will you have to go down that path as well?
So a couple of years back, we were primarily known as stockbrokers.
Right.
Last 2 years, we have been trying to shift our focus from mere brokerage activity to trying to build long-term wealth for our clients through building mutual fund AUM. Today, if you see financial year 2017-18, 77% of our income, operational income, came from brokerage, and 13% came from mutual fund distribution. If you compare it a year back, it was 80% and 8.2%. So we are trying to shift the company's focus not to be on dependent on brokerage business. Having said that, we feel that brokerage business also will grow in terms of the way the market grows, the GDP grows.
All right.
Yes, you are right that there is competition. We have seen many of our competitors coming out with plans which are quite cheap. But in our case, we already have 65% of our retail volumes coming online.
Okay.
And our endeavor is to build this 65 to 75% to 85% in the next 2-3 years, and use the branch infrastructure to do these kinds of new products.
Okay, I was reading about your company profile. A large part of your clients come from the Gulf. You have a strong presence there. We've seen crude oil prices move to about 80. Does that mean that more people get more money and more people deploy more money into your business? Is that good for your business? Is there a correlation?
That correlation is correct. But around 10% of our business comes from the Gulf market. So that effect, whether it is positive or negative, is to limit it to that percentage.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much, Mr. Menon, for joining in and filling us in about the year that went by. All the best for the coming year. That's FY19. By the way, the markets have moved to the low point of the day. Now, the mid-cap index as well is on the verge of moving into the red. So keep your eye out on that front. Remember, we still have more number of stocks that are advancing than declining. But those lines are getting closer to each other. Just going by the mid-cap index, let's pull up the crisscross lines. We had far more stocks that were advancing than declining. Now both those two lines are getting closer, telling you that the number of stocks that are declining, they are really picking up. And the Nifty now is on the verge of going towards a crucial support level of around 10,700. It's bounced off that mark, so we'll have to keep an eye out on that mark very, very closely. HDFC, Infosys and ITC, you put all these three together, the weightage over there is more than 16-17%. As promised, let's get chatting with the management of Career Point Infosystems. They reported a seasonally weak Q4 on expected lines. That's despite the fact that their NBFC business that did a relative outperformance. The company has plans, though, could be looking at doing something with regard to their NBFC business as well going ahead. We have Mr. Pramod Maheshwari, the CMD and CEO of the company, who's joining us to run us through all those details. Hi, Mr. Maheshwari. Thanks so much for joining in, sir. In the last year, your enrollments were up by around 1.5% approximately. But I'm taking a look at the breakup. The schools divisions over there, that grew by around 40%, while your tuitions divisions de-grew by around 13%. If you could help us out, what are the total enrollments likely to grow by in the coming year? And give us the breakup of the mix of school as well as tuitions.
So last year, the total enrollment reported were around 29,500, and out of which close to 8,000 enrollments were into formal education, which is school and college university division, and remaining 18,000 students enrollment were in tuition. The tuition enrollment, there was a dip just because of decreased enrollment in for engineering entrance examination preparation. This year, I expect that due to increased number of aspirants for national eligibility test for pre-medical. We are expecting there will be there will be growth of enrollment in tuition around 10%, whereas in formal education, which is school and higher education division, we are expecting growth in enrollment close to 30%.
So formal education is 30%. Can you give us a breakup between the sort of revenue and margins you make on both these divisions, so we know that, with higher contribution coming in from either of the divisions, what the impact could be on your overall operational performance? What's the breakup in terms of revenue and margins that you make from both school and tuition division?
So primarily on our books, you will see the majority of revenue comes from the tuition division, because in case of formal education or school or higher education division, we provide management services to school and universities, and only the management service fee come to the top line. The margins in formal education division is close to 75%, whereas in tuition division is close to 20 to 22%, and overall margins are close to 34%.
Mr. Maheshwari, if you could help us with the details, you're saying the total enrollments will grow by 30%, right, in the coming year?
For formal education and around 10% in tuition division.
In tuition division. All right. So you've given us that breakup as well. I also wanted to ask you about your NBFC business. What's going on there? Remember, you had spoken to us the last time and you said that could be a possibility you're looking at listing that. So what is the size of the book that you're looking at to list this particular business? A lot of your shareholders will be keen to understand when you are going to unlock value there.
So we are in process of putting all the system in place. The book size of the NBFC is close to 150 crore as on day. We are expecting by year end, this initial year end, this will grow to around 250 to 225 to 250 crore.
Okay.
And then we will take a call to high off and list it.
Last time you said it'll take about 9 to 12 months for you to hive off and list it. So if you could give us some more details, just to get a valuation of your NBFC business. You said currently it's about 150 crores in terms of loan book, which will grow to about 250 by the end of this year. What exactly is the book size in terms of your equity value out there? Some asset quality numbers that you can give us. What sort of NPAs and loan size are you seeing out there? What kind of net interest margin do you make in that business?
So currently the equity is around 20 crore plus.
20 crore plus.
Yes, and remaining is borrowing. Interest margin, our interest margin or our spread is approximately 4.5%, 4 to 4.5%. And we primarily give a loan to the educational institutions to help them to build infrastructure. Fortunately, NPA is not there as on day. We are expecting to maintain very low NPA because we do very strong due diligence, and being in education, we understand the education business pretty good, and we only finance educational institution as on day.
You wish to raise some more capital in your finance business, given the growth prospects that you have for it?
Currently, the focus is to put system in place. Obviously, at appropriate time, we might look forward to raise more funds.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mr. Maheshwari, for joining in. Right.
Yeah, Mangalam, I think we should keep an eye out from the markets as well. We just broke 10,700 odd.
That's right.
So just pull up the intraday chart on the Nifty. We have broken the 10,700 mark. That's the crucial support level. I don't know whether we have Ashwini with us, but maybe in fact we can just put a question across to him to ask him what's the trade right now. We have ITC that's moved lower. We have Infosys as well that's dragging lower. IndusInd Bank as well has come in for some selling. So a whole host of these frontliners, they are moving lower. The mid-cap index, by the way, has moved into the red. But I think we have Ashwini back with us. Ashwini, 10,700 intraday basis, we just broke that level. Would you still look to buy into the Nifty, or would you change the trade now?
See, that was the stop, and now what's happening in the last 15 odd minutes is that IndusInd and Kotak are having a sort of vertical falls along with HDFC Bank. So again, in the middle of the day, large private banks are seeing selling. But on the other hand, you have Titan, which is making highs of the day. So that way, financials, the downside remains open, and meanwhile consumer and FMCG continue to remain strong.
Ashwini, you spoke about IndusInd and Kotak. If you could tell us your view on the Nifty Bank as well. The Nifty, you had 10,700 as a crucial stop. For the Nifty Bank, 26,100 thereabouts is where we are right now. What is the stop and what's the trade there?
See, 26, 100, 150, that was a strong initial support. Now that if those levels are going, probably 25 600 to 800, that sort of range should be on the horizon.
Any selling ideas in the mid-cap space, Ashwini? Because I'm taking a look at Container Corp. That one slipped a little. Jet Airways, after recovering yesterday, has resumed its downtrend. You have the likes of PTC, BEML, all of them coming off the high point of the day. Any shorting ideas out there?
See, metals are having a bad day. So Hindalco, oil marketing is not doing so well. IT, surprisingly, again it has turned on the downside. Reliance is doing fairly poorly. So things like Muthoot Finance, the smaller NBFCs, they're also not doing so well. So several short ideas. Basically, anything rate sensitive is kind of coming off.
Okay, all right, Ashwini, thanks so much for joining and giving us those details. So anything rate sensitive is a bit of an avoid as per what Ashwini is telling us. But keep an eye out on the markets. A few select pockets, they're lending some support. Case in point being something like a Sun Pharma. That stock, in fact, was trading well in the red. It was down close to under %. It's done a U-turn of sorts now. So the intraday chart should come up for you. The markets are virtually at the low point of the day. Sun Pharma moves to the high point of the day. We're seeing a bit of a recovery on Cipla as well. It was down close to 3%. Now it's cutting its losses. But Mangala, when you have ITC, Infosys and HDFC, all of them dragging their feet, that's what's really putting pressure on the Nifty. And even Kotak Mahindra Bank, it was trading in the green just a short while back. Now that as well has moved to the low point of the day.
But if you keep an eye out on a couple of these mid-caps, the stocks which are trying to move higher are not, the best of the lot stocks. Because if you take a look at these movers, you have the Reliance Group stocks, which is the ADAG Group stocks. Reliance Power has moved from the low point of the day. We have Reliance Infra and Reliance Capital 2 moving off the low point of the day. But we'll really need to keep an eye out on the mid-cap index, which has given up from the high point, virtually sitting at the flat line. With that, we're out of time on Chartbusters, but you stay tuned to CNBC TV18 Trading Hour. We'll keep an eye out on the markets and individual stocks.